I'm so glad you're on time. I'm V. I'm looking forward to showing you around Planned-Opolis today. My husband works from home. He's a virtual engineer working on one of the city's desalination plants. He controls the robots who do all the important maintenance. I think he basically plays computer games for a living. Are you ready to go? Have you got your calorie card open on your smartphone? I registered your visit with Slick Travel Corp the other day, so they've allotted you a journey time to match mine. It makes so much sense, doesn't it? Switch off brain and go to work. With this many people around, I'm glad there's a mega computer in charge. We're so lucky. Our kids were allocated a school quite near my practice, so I can drop them off on the way. It saves on our calorie ration. Well, it won't be long until the little darlings get their career announcements. They've been working so hard, so I'm sure they'll get something good. Not that there's anything wrong with fixing carbon scrubbers for a living or anything. Are you hungry? Let's pop to the market as we're past. Right, what's on the menu this month? No, not meat. It's not your birthday. The Global Food Council are doing a really good job of keeping food production going. I mean, you don't get the choice you used to, but we're better off than most. I think it's probably easiest to walk from here. You barely see a car in the city centre nowadays, unless you're rich. Well, the state knows they just aren't practical anymore. We're all trying to meet our global carbon deal. Electric bikes are so much better for getting around our neighbourhood. And why waste valuable space on car parks when you can use them to grow food? I don't care what you say, Alex. They don't deserve to live in that ghetto. They are completely disconnected. No high-speed transport system, no new internet. They miss out on jobs and many essential services too. Oh, hi again. What a day. I had to make an emergency visit to the Cry Freedom ghettos. I mean, I miss my sister like mad, but I'm glad they went when they were moved to New Amsterdam. They're safe from climate change on the floating city. Oh, that must be her now. It's much easier to meet up with friends virtually now. So many cities have banned cars in central areas. Ooh, looks like she's got some juicy gossip.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Thursday, January 6th, 2011, and I'm Darko. Welcome to this news bulletin, guys. I have a lot of news to cover. If you're a new listener, I usually ask if you could please, check out my website. It's www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. I've been posting a lot of videos on there and updating it, so it's worth checking out. So you just saw that video. I thought it was a joke at first, but I guess it's a real thing. And man, that's just hard to watch, dude, because it's like I know, from either reading Brave New World or watching 1984, the movies and reading the book and just hearing, like people like Alan Watt talk about what the future holds for us. And I saw that video and I'm just like, man, they're selling it, dude. They're actually selling this horrible non-free future for us. And I was looking at that city with all those little, like, they all look the same, those little houses, and they're all together and everything's small, and they don't have cars, and they have calorie rations, they don't eat meat. And I'm like looking at those houses and I'm like, man, this thing, it's like, and this is kind of far out there, but it's almost like those cities, those mega cities, they look like computer memory boards or something. You know what I mean? Almost as if we are like in the Matrix. We are little batteries. And, that's why the people, like she was saying, ooh, that must be a rich person, driving that car, because that's how it's going to be. Like, that's why Al Gore flies. He doesn't give a crap because he knows it's all a sham. He knows man-made global climate change, global warming is a fraud. That's the pseudoscience. So, but the last point I'd like to make about that video was interesting was that how they, in that video, and people that promote globalism, people that promote there's nothing wrong with environmentalism. It's just that it tends to be backed by people who are eugenicists, so they want to kill people and bring the population down almost 90%. So there's nothing wrong with helping the planet or you're trying to recycle or anything like that. It's just this illusion, like Yoko Ono and John Lennon basically talking about how overpopulation was an illusion and a myth. I believe that because, I've driven all across the United States this year, and I noticed, man, there's a lot of open land with no people on there, or hardly any people. They're all spread out, and most of them are healthy because they're spread out. But the future is these big mega cities. I mentioned that in a previous video today about these mega cities. That's where the future is, and then there would be no private property beyond the city limits, and most of the people would be renting in the city, so they wouldn't actually own anything either. And of course, you heard the little V, which stands for 6, and what is it? Our little illuminist. But she was talking about the cars, and I'm going into that again only because I want to show to you that the whole idea of private property for just the normal commoner or citizen or subject is gone. So you're not going to have cars, not because it's greener, but because they don't want you to be able to travel freely. That's why you have all these body scanners. That's why in order to go to school you got to go through a metal detector. Now you can say, oh, that's because Columbine, that's because of 9/11. Well, I hate to say it, a lot of that is caused or allowed to happen, by the intelligence agencies and the Defense Department, the Pentagon, the governments, global governments all around the world. They want crises like that to happen so that they can regulate travel. They don't like the slaves moving about freely, spontaneously, because they're not predictable. They want them to be in these big cities where they have these huge companies like Monsanto and Cargill and all them. They're going to own these huge properties besides the rich and the wealthy elites out in the rural areas, and they'll be totally fenced off with barbed wire and everything around them, and they'll be spraying, there'll be GMO, and of course you'll have this humongous cities, right? And that's where all the culling and all the eugenics will take place, guaranteed. And you think the elites are going to live in that city? Hell no. The only time they'll be in the city is to promote some kind of stupid agenda that they have. So anyways, this is what I left off in the last video. A shift of Earth's magnetic North Pole affects Tampa Airport. This is pretty interesting. Some people talked about a pole shift. I remember hearing a lot about pole shift of the globe itself, the North and South poles reversing, or just shifting actually. There's either just a shift or an actual full complete reversal. And that's what I remember reading a lot about when getting into 2012. That was around 2006 before it was even really discussed in mainstream news or mainstream media. And so here we go. Scientists say the magnetic pole is moving towards Russia, and the fallout has reached, of all places, Tampa International Airport. And I thought this was interesting with all the birds and the fish. Who knows? Maybe it has something to do with it. Just throwing it out there. The airport has closed its primary runway to repaint the numeric designators at each end of the and change taxiway signage to account for the shift in location of the Earth's magnetic North Pole. So that's pretty interesting. Atlantic currents have seen drastic changes. This also could be another reason for the birds and death fish killed. Scientists have found evidence of a drastic shift since the 1970s in the North Atlantic Ocean currents that usually influence weather in the northern hemisphere, Swiss researchers said on Tuesday. This team of biochemists and oceanographers from Switzerland, Canada, and the U.S. detected changes in deep-sea Atlantic corals that indicated the declining influence of the cold northern Labrador current. The links are all posted in the video's description on YouTube, so you can check out all the links. New Zealand climate scientists admit to faking temperatures. The actual temps show little warming over the last 50 years. Climate scientists across the world have been blatantly fabricating temperatures in hopes of convincing the public and politicians that modern global warming is unprecedented and accelerating. Moving on here, USC's massive drop in bumblebees study says weakened by inbreeding and disease, bumblebees have died off at an astonishing rate over the past 20 years, with some U.S. populations diving more than 90%, according to a new study. This has been discussed for a good, now it's 2011. I remember it was being discussed while I was in school, and that was around 06, 07. So I said the findings are a concern because bees play a crucial role in pollinating crops such as tomatoes, peppers, berries. So the findings of a 3-year study. As I was going to say, There are some people that think that it has to do with the actual GMO crops and then the pesticides that are built into these new crops that are killing them. There's many theories out there, but he says that it has to do with the inbreeding and disease. There's also chemtrails. They are spraying globally and nationally. Obviously, it's globally, it's nationally, but you know what I'm saying. All across the United States, like I said, I drove all the way to Oregon this year, and I had a little stint of no chemicals, no chemtrails while I was in Nebraska, but man, I got to western Nebraska, and then bam, the chemtrails started up again and into Wyoming and all the way clear to Oregon. So they're definitely spraying heavy everywhere, so that might have another thing to do with it. Researchers find alarming decline in bumblebees. 4 previously abundant species of the bumblebees are close to disappearing in the United States. Researchers reported Monday in a study confirming that agriculturally important bees are being affected worldwide. And it says here, leaked document, EPA knowingly approved bee-killing pesticide. A Colorado beekeeper recently obtained a leaked document revealing that the U.S. EPA knows a popular crop pesticide is killing off honeybees, but has allowed it to continued approval anyways, despite opposition from its own scientists. EPA officials first gave the okay to Bayer crop science toxic pesticides, Clothianidin, in 1993 based on the company's own flawed safety studies, but now it has been revealed that the EPA knew all along about the dangers of this and decided to ignore them. Well, that's because, that's what I said, I'm pro-stateless society, and all of these things, whether it's FCC, SEC, EPA, they're all made to protect the corporations that they're there to so-called protect the citizens from, right? From getting hurt or defrauded. But they help them carry out the fraud. They help them carry out or get away with these crimes, right? That's all it is. I mean, so I don't know. There's no really other way to put it, but that's what they're there for. Siberian tiger attacks, because, let me just finish up. Because if you were in a free market with a stateless society, you would have total responsibility, total liability. With a government, these corporations are not liable. And to go further, those departments go out on a limb because they get paid off, certain ones, usually the higher-ups, to basically turn a blind eye to this stuff. Siberian tiger attacks kill bus driver in China. We've had alligators attacking, sharks attacking. It says a rare Siberian tiger attacked and killed a tour bus driver in northern China while the man's horrified passengers watched, Chinese media said. It says caught on tape, great white versus boat. I'm running low on time, so I'm just going to skip this, but I'll post the link. I already covered that one. Talking about greenhouse gas rules targeted by lawmakers. U.S. lawmakers are moving fast to try to block the Obama administration from regulating greenhouse gases. It's been just one day since the start of the new Congress, and lawmakers have already introduced at least 4 bills to cripple altogether and block the administration from working on greenhouse gas standards. That was the EPA. They moved unilaterally to fight greenhouse gases. That's what they said in an article recently. Police ex-Pentagon official confused before death, says prominent national defense expert, appeared confused and disoriented as he wandered inside a downtown Wilmington office building less than 14 hours before his body was dumped with a load of trash at a nearby landfill, police said on Wednesday. Said John P. Wheeler III refused help from several people who approached him inside the numerous building as late as 8:30 p.m. Wheeler's body was found Friday morning at the Cherry Island landfill in Wilmington. Police believe he was killed, but they haven't said how or why. Something interesting to note, he was an Army officer in the Pentagon. They didn't say this in any of the mainstream media, but he actually was a person that was on the board for chemical and biological weapons. He was actually a person that was against the use of them. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.